Okay, good morning, Caroline. What a good morning it was. I woke up today and it was a rainy morning, and it's just so great to have a rainy day when you're already set up to bake bread. So here we are. Okay, at this point, I've got my little bowl with shower cap, and we've got some condensation that came about. And let's just see what this looks like. Yeah, so at this point it should be loose, airy. There's got a lot of moisture there. So this is going to be our base, to which we are going to add salt, some warm water, some bread dough, and again, I try to put a little bit of wheat flour in there. What else do we need to know? I did review yesterday's tape, and I believe I said boom maybe 3 times. So we're going to work on improvement, not perfection. Perhaps today it will be 2 times, maybe no times. We'll see. I did my random vinyl pick, and oh gosh, so today it's so good. It's a compilation vinyl disc that was kind of like a promo for radio stations, and it is an 80s mix called Dance to It. I am playing side 2 before 1 just because on 1 there was actually a Joe Jackson hit, and we heard Joe yesterday, so we're shaking it up. If we make it to side 2, I will do that, but timing wise I can't imagine. Okay, so since we've got my heavy ceramic bowl, we're going to add our things to a different bowl. And by things, I suppose I'll add the water first. So the water at this point is supposed to be warm, like more like 80 something degrees, as opposed to the 60-degree water that we used yesterday. Just a note, if you're mindful of what your normal body temperature is, you might realize that kind of warm really doesn't feel that warm to your touch. I think in general people tend to use water that's a little bit warmer than what is called for when you're dealing with cultures and yeasts and things. So warm-ish, but it should not feel that warm to you because you are warmer, right? Okay, so we're narrowed down, we're zeroed down, and so our lukewarm 80-ish degree water. Now some people do use a thermometer. If you want to geek out, feel free. I have not. It's a nice little thing to do, I suppose, but I get away without doing it. So we're looking for 480 grams of lukewarm water, and we're zeroed out. So it should be about 2 cups, but we'll see. So 420, 451. Wow, okay, so it is exactly 2 cups. So just an interesting aside there. So I guess volume for water is a little more accurate than for things that are porous. Okay, so we add this to our lovely bowl. Maybe stir it up a little. Okay. So our salt. Our salt is supposed to be 24 grams. Let me pull some. Alright, so I'm going to zero this bowl out. Alright, so 24 grams of kosher salt is about 2.5 teaspoons, I think. But it's kind of irrelevant because we're just dumping it out. Loving the tunes. This is called Kiddo. Give it up. from our Dance to It compilation. All right, so 24 grams of salt. All right, now we're going to go for 250 grams of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, you might have access to regular flour plus adding Vital Wheat gluten. You can get Vital Wheat gluten these days at health food stores. It shouldn't be hard. So, but I have bread flour. I am going off the path here to add a little bit of wheat flour. All right, so let's zero it out. And we're going for 750 grams of flour. So I'm going to add about 100 of whole wheat, and then the rest will be bread. Let's see how much that tends to be. We're almost there, folks. Oop, we overshot. That's okay. Got the police now. Oh no, we didn't overshoot. We're going for 750. Is that right? Yeah, 750. We didn't overshot. Okay. So, oop, perfect. All right, so we've got our salt, got our flour, and we're just going to add it. Again, it's not, I don't think, too important at this stage of the game to do this in a certain manner. I just kind of throw it in. I'm just trying to mix it so that it creates a dough without making too much mess. Just takes a little bit. It just gives us time to enjoy the police when they were young and having to put out little promos to get some airtime. Okay. Back in the day, folks, when all we had was radio, you couldn't just do your own online promotion. You had to get the DJs to play your things, and it was hard in the New York area if you were alternative to do that. So they relied on WLIR, which was this little radio station in Long Island in a strip mall, believe it or not. But all the alternative new wavers, that's where they all had to get their start on the New York airwaves. I was lucky enough to just barely get it in my room in New Jersey. And you had to have, your antenna. So, right, okay. But we are rambling a bit. All right, so here's what we've got now, okay? It's just kind of a scraggly, is that a word? It's scraggly. So it's a loose dough, and I wouldn't worry too much about the consistency, or even really if we've mixed in all the flour at this point. We are just going to make sure that it's pretty much mixed, but all of the consistent nature of the dough is going to happen over the next few hours. Every half hour-ish, we're going to knead this dough. So, in order to get ready for that, we're going to stop doing what I'm doing. It's pretty well mixed at this point. Do a little scrape action. And we're going to put our shower cap back on. And we are going to check back in in a half an hour's time. So note the time at this point. It doesn't have to be exact, but just so that you plot out your activities, just choose things that you can walk away from in a half an hour. It's pretty easy for me to putter around my house and do that. Oh, we've got Falco, Der Kommissar, right on. Okay, so I promised you a little tip every now and then, just random bonus. And here's my tip of the day. It has to do with stain removal. Okay, so let's say, hypothetically speaking, I spilled something like my coffee on my shirt. My first inclination would be to get a rag, maybe some soap or something, and rub it like this. However, and I did not develop this on my own, but I did hear it and pay attention and live by it. When you're doing that, all you're really doing is pushing the stain farther into your garment. And you want it to come out the way it came in. So instead of pushing the stain in, you want it to kind of reverse action. So what you would do, if you really want to get that stain out, you take off your garment, you turn it inside out, you run water pushing the stain out the way it came, because that is going to be the path of least resistance. The last thing you want to do is push it more forward through something it hasn't already gone through. So you simply rinse it with water, maybe a little soap, but pushing it through the force of the water out in the other direction. And that's the best way to start. So there you have it. We're going to put this to bed for half an hour. We're going to say thank you, Falco. We're going to say thank you, rainy day, which is actually now getting kind of sunny. And I will check back in a half an hour, and I will show you the next step, which really isn't that exciting, but it's going to build in excitement, because by the end of the day, maybe even early evening, we're going to be cranking our oven way high and having some bread magic. So see you in a half an hour.